Okay, well, I done got her out, and I had it setting. I simply pulled the basket out with the bird in the basket. And anyhow, as the bird was in the basket, I thought, okay, I've got to get it out on the pan so I could slice and cut it up. Well, I did flip the bird, as we said. I put the butt back down so, it'd be in the oil for just a few minutes. Now, I got her a little hotter than what's recommended on the inside, and of course this lighting, the bird looks a whole lot browner than what it is. It's all actually a nice crispy brown, but the skin on this is just super, it's almost like a pastry. It's almost like phyllo dough. It's just flaky. I mean, flakes apart in your hands. No burnt taste at all. Usually I cannot stand fat. I hate chicken skin. But this I gotta start and eat just the skin off of. Anyway, the word of caution I was about to say is as I pulled the basket out of the pan, I let the basket set while I went inside to get a cookie sheet to put it on. And when I went to pull it out of that pan, I simply took a paper towel, folded it so I wouldn't burn myself. As you notice, well, let me see if I can turn the light on. That might help a little, might make it worse. But generally the skin will, most of the time, kind of peel up this way. But another reason for putting them in with the legs up is I grabbed the legs to take it out, and as I was very gently, and I do mean very gently, I wasn't roughhousing it. I think I can see better without the light. As I went to take it out, both of the legs just pretty much pretty near fell off. This thing is so tender, that's good, that the legs fell off the bird. I'm trying not to tear that completely off. If I just get that with 2 fingers, I can pull that whole leg clean off this bird. I don't know if you can hear the skin crunching. So that's what happens when you cook one at 350. That one hadn't been in the whole entire time on what would be considered 4.5 pounds for this size bird and blah blah blah. So that's why you always want to check it first. 4 minutes max per pound. Doesn't hurt to check it before. So what I ended up with when I pulled it out this time, this is the first time I pulled it out. As soon as I pulled it out, I went and got the thermometer. The bird had set for roughly 2 minutes. Inside the breast, I went in this way with the thermometer, got into the deepest portion of meat. It was 174 degrees, 174, 175. The breast was back here, was roughly 180. The legs, I put the thermometer in straight to the bone. It was 190. I went to the deep part of the inside of the bone. It was 187 to 190. So we went a little above what they say cook done time. But one reason for not overcooking a turkey, especially when you're doing it in the oven, another reason I like frying them, is because they just get dry. But now that's not grease. That's just juicy. This meat is so tender. I mean, this is drumstick. And I can just sit there and pull the meat right off the bone. Flavor is beautiful. Like I said, no seasoning. You want to season it, that's fine. You want to inject it, that's fine. A lot of people, when they say, well, you put rub on before. If you put a rub on these things and you go to fry it, all your rub's just going to come off in the oil. Then it ruins your oil for pretty much anything else. It's another reason I don't season my birds, because I use this oil for everything. Most people don't fry turkeys that often. And that is not trash floating in. Maybe I can get a little better picture. That's just bubbles. So, there's nothing floating in this grease. I got a little bitty bit of ring around there, but that'll wipe right off. But that's just from the oil top. So that is actually bubbles in my oil. When this cools down, those will go away. What was it? We used oil for, French fries. Yeah. Like I said, this oil's left over from Thanksgiving. At the time of this video, today is, I don't know, January 25th, 26th, something like that. I'm not sure. So anyway, this is left over from probably 2 weeks before Thanksgiving when I did the first bird. I think I got enough, well, no. Yeah, I got enough time to really quickly talk about how to store the oil. So anyway, this is the third bird putting this oil, but we used part of this oil to make French fries, and she was talking about how good the French fries were. This was a couple weeks ago, so the oil has not gone rancid. What turns your oil rancid is going to be air. So what I do when this oil cools down, make sure it's completely cool. And as you saw in the first one, I simply put it back in the bottles it came in. Of course, that was vegetable oil. We had to use half and half on this, so this ain't straight canola. I think I had 2 canolas in the vegetable or 3 canolas in the vegetable. Anyway, I put the oil back in the can, and that's fine. Got a minute and a half here. So real quick, if you put oil in this and it's up like, halfway, just like vinegar, it's the air that turns your oil rancid. So what you want to do is, if you're trying to keep this, instead of leaving like a half gallon in a gallon bottle, take it out, put it in a quart. Keep the air out of it. If you got a little bit, put it in a smaller jar. But the big thing is as you store it where there's no air in whatever container you're leaving it in. And this oil will stay fresh a long time. A lot longer than if it gets air to it, even new oil. A lot of times when you open a can of oil for the first time, bottle of oil, if you use half of it and it sits on the shelf for a month or 2 months, you go back and it's not really any good. So even on fresh oil, as you use it, if it's going to set for a while, put it in a smaller container. Okay, that's all the card time we got on this, and hit you up after a while.